When the heart is in pain, even though you might not be saying anything, the soul is still suffering. So it's time to remove the mask. It's time to become a new you, mentally, emotionally well. Let the shit go. Shame, hurt, insecurities, and triggers. Reclaim your power. When you don't know who you are, you give others the power to define you. What others think about you doesn't matter. What you think and say about yourself creates who and what you are. Ready to activate the power within you? Let's go. Now don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And go ahead and hit that notification bell so that every time a new video is uploaded, you'll get notified. Hearts hurt, minds overload, and souls become weary. We're living in a climate right now where the energy is extremely heavy. I don't know if you've been experiencing it, but I personally have been experiencing the heaviness of the energy in the atmosphere. There's just a lot of emotional stuff that's going on, right? And it can become very difficult for you to be transparent and be open with what you're experiencing. And so what happens when you feel like you need to cover up what you're dealing with? You tend to wear these masks. And when you put on a mask, the real you is not showing up in your day-to-day life. And I get it. You know, the life that I live, the career that I'm in makes it very difficult to be open with what I'm experiencing, especially if it's heavy, right? But one of the things that I have learned the importance of for myself personally is having that one person that I can be totally transparent and authentic with. Because wearing masks and covering up the pain doesn't serve you, because it doesn't go anywhere. It's like, you know, you have blemishes or you have bad skin or bad acne. And so you put on makeup and you put on concealer and you put on more makeup to cover up the problem. When you take that makeup off, the acne is still there. The problem skin is still there. In order for you to get rid of the blemishes and the acne, you have to treat the skin. Covering it up with makeup, masking it, doesn't make it go anywhere. It does not eliminate the problem, right? And hey, listen, we live in a life where struggle and progress exists. I read something really powerful this week that said, you know, don't try to eliminate the struggle and just hold on to the progress, because without the struggle, you would never get to the progress, or you wouldn't appreciate the progress. That hit me in a different light this week, because this week, I'll just be transparent and honest with you, has been a very heavy week for me emotionally. You know, sometimes things happen in the ethers, in the atmosphere, depending on where the planets are and, you know, what they doing. We are affected by that energy. And so it's important for you to allow yourself to feel the feeling. Don't lie to yourself. Don't be dishonest with yourself about what's really going on with you. You have to be honest about how you feel. We've been conditioned, you know, the society and culture that I grew up in, this was a saying that my grandmother would always say: don't let Peter Bodie, what was it? Peter Bodie say, talk some and leave some. Then there's another saying that says, you don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, right? But if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling heavy emotionally, you're carrying that weight and that burden. And if you choose not to allow somebody into that space with you, then you're carrying that weight and burden on your own. And it can become very difficult when you're shouldering something that's heavy all by yourself. So after you are honest with yourself about how you feel, then sit down with yourself and decide, what do you want to do with the feelings? Because your feelings are always an extension of whatever you're thinking about, right? So every feeling that we have always comes after thoughts that we're thinking. And so in order to be able to change the feeling, you have to be able to change the thought. But hey, if shit is happening in your life, if things feel heavy, it's very difficult to not have the thought and not have the feeling in the moment, right? But something that was going on with me, you know, a couple of weeks ago was I was feeling very heavy. There were certain thoughts that were coming in. Now, let me tell you something about thoughts. We don't have any control over thoughts showing up. Thoughts can show up just like cars on the freeway, right? You can have crazy drivers, you can have slow drivers, you can have reckless drivers, you can have drivers who don't know what the hell they're doing on the street, right? And you have no control over the driver coming onto the highway. You have no control over the thought entering into your mind. Thoughts come and thoughts go. Have you ever had a random thought? You're like, where the hell did that come from, right? That's how thoughts operate. But once the thought shows up and then a feeling develops as a result of the thought, and you are in awareness of the feeling, then you get to sit down and decide, okay, what do I now want to do with this feeling? What created this feeling? Then you go back to the thought. All right, this thought is creating a feeling that is not in alignment with what I desire to experience right now. So what do I need to do? I need to do something about the thought. Okay, how can I reframe this thought so that I'm walking in power rather than in pain? And there might be some thoughts, sweetie pie, that you just need to sit with and you need to process. Because a lot of times people have thoughts that result in feelings, and the thoughts are a result of something that has happened, and they don't want to deal with what has happened. But as long as you don't deal with what has happened, you give it the opportunity to keep showing up. And so if when it shows up, it creates a feeling and you don't like the feeling, then you are responsible to yourself to sit down, to process the thoughts that you are having, the feelings that they are creating, and then decide and choose what it is that you want to do with the thought that's creating the feeling. And you do that by deciding what you want to experience. You know, you hear a lot of people talking about mental health, right? One of the things that I like to focus on is mental wellness and emotional wellness, right? Because a lot of times when people talk about mental health, they are insinuating, they're suggesting that something is wrong, that something is off kilter. But if you focus more on wellness rather than sickness, if you focus more on solution rather than problem, you give yourself the opportunity to get to a different feeling, to get to a different experience. Right? And yeah, sometimes it's very uncomfortable to talk about it. Get it? And sometimes it's appropriate not to talk about it. Sometimes it's appropriate to process it on your own. Sometimes you're able to process it on your own and move through it. But if you're struggling with moving through it, like I was a couple of weeks ago, right? You need to decide what you want to experience. And then whatever it is you want to experience, you need to connect to whatever is going to support you to be able to experience that. So what did that look like for me? I'm going to tell you about it right now. So like I was saying before, pain is real and it must be processed. So, you know, my sister died in a car accident. My mother died in a car accident. My father is passed and gone. I'm on the other side of 2 divorces, right? Some days I feel lonely because, you know, I'm desiring now to create a relationship. And so all of these thoughts bombarded me all at the same time a couple of weeks ago. So needless to say, I went into a funk. I felt very sad. I felt lonely. You know, I was bordering on some depression, right? Now, I've struggled with depression in the past, so I know what it looks like when it shows up. I'm also very aware to understand that my feelings are connected to my thoughts and I need to catch those thoughts. And so, you know, I had myself a good cry. I'm not going to lie. I had myself a couple of good cries, couple of days of good cries. And then I decided on the 3rd day, I didn't want to cry no more. I needed to shift the energy. So what do I need to do in order to experience a different feeling right now? Well, I am so grateful that I do have somebody in my life who is that person that I can be completely transparent with. I can be completely 100. There's not going to be any judgment. There's not going to be any criticism. She's going to hold my hand if she needs to. She's going to kick my butt if she needs to. She's going to take me out if she needs to. So I put a call into her and I said, I need you today. And she said, all right, give me 2 hours. I'm dropping everything. I'm going to be there for you. And we spent the entire day together. It completely shifted my energy. Had some shop therapy, had some food therapy, had some drink therapy, right? Listen, by whatever means necessary. Sometimes you just got to do whatever you got to do in order to get whatever it is that you decide to get, right? And so I gave myself an opportunity to shift through that energy. You can give yourself an opportunity to shift through the energy as well, because masks, they obscure, but they don't solve. And a lot of times, whenever we're dealing with emotional stuff, whenever we're dealing with mental stuff, we need to give ourselves an outlet to get it out. What do they say about shit? shit is better out than in, right? And a lot of times when you're dealing with thoughts of things that have happened in the past, there's a lot of shit, shame, hurt, insecurities, and triggers that are connected to those thoughts, and you need to get it out. You know, staying with it in you, not choosing to go use the bathroom, you get constipated, you get toxic, you start to feel lethargic, you start to feel sick and painful, right? You need to give yourself the opportunity to get it out. And like in the natural world, if you're constipated and you need to get it out, might go take some laxative, right? You need to give yourself the opportunity to do whatever you need to do in order to release, let the shit go, let the mental, the emotional struggles, pains, feelings go, so that you give yourself an opportunity to create something different. And let me tell you, I understand, but this is the work that I do. And so if you need some help in talking it through, reach out for help. If you want to connect with somebody who operates at the place of soul, like me, make a phone call, send an email, send a direct message. Give yourself the opportunity to remove the mask, because like I said, the mask might obscure, but it doesn't solve and it doesn't resolve the issues and the pain. And everything that you're dealing with on a mental and emotional level is connected to a deeper source. And it's important to target and identify that source so that you give yourself the opportunity to clear your space of the shit. Let's continue this conversation over in the Soul Therapy Saturdays group on Facebook. Join us by clicking the link below in the description, and we're going to continue this conversation, because I feel like, some people got some shit in them and they just need to get it out. And you'll be surprised how many people are dealing with the same stuff that you're dealing with, but you got to give yourself permission to remove the mask and share it. I am committed to supporting you on your mental and emotional wellness journey. So if you need some help with that, my link for my website is in the description box. Click on that. Let's have a conversation and let's get you to the other side. Let's get that mask off. Let's begin the mental and emotional wellness process, okay? And until next time, remember this. If you desire it, you do deserve it. And if you deserve it, that means you can have it.